Shadow. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Carl Jung. And I am divine in my worst hour as much as I am in my best. Jack Savage. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will just direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. I stood upon a high place. I stood upon a high place and saw below many devils running, leaping, and carousing in sin. One looked up, grinning, and said, "Comrade, brother." That's a poem by Stephen Crane, who lived from 1871 to 1900. There is no such thing in nature as an H-bomb. That's all man's doing. We are the great danger. The psyche is the great danger. Carl Jung. Be aware of the darker side of yourself and know what it is saying to you. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Every person and archetype has a shadow side. If you don't see the shadow of a person, you don't see the person and are blinded by idealization. If you don't see your own shadow, you're in denial and will project your shadow onto others. We all have a side of ourselves we consider dark, or even worse, don't consider at all. Our shadow may include appetites, lust for power, manipulative agendas, chaotic emotions, and subpersonalities, addictions, and hidden talents. The more we deny the shadow, the more it weighs us down. But if we embrace its reality, learn how it works, and then integrate it into our awareness so that it cannot rule us, we become enlightened. We become wiser and more empathic for having a shadow and discover hidden treasures in the dark continents of the unconscious. If we are at war with our shadow, then it dominates us. We project it onto individuals and groups and act out our inferior side. If we are unable to accept our shadow, we become hungry ghosts, forever seeking outside recognition to compensate for the doubts that forever gnaw at us. When we recognize and accept our imperfections, they strengthen us, and we become more nourishing and attractive to others. All people have a shadow, but only the strongest work on integrating their shadows with acceptance and love. Summoning the intense moral courage to accept your shadow is an ongoing process that creates healing for yourself, those close to you, and the entire world. The strongest shadow denial is found in those, left or right, religious or secular, who consider themselves righteous champions of the good, striving to save the world. Such people forever talk about a shadowy they and want others to wake up. They naively assume they are awake when they are actually asleep inside a collective dream whose chief function is a projection of inner demons out into the world. As Goethe said, if you want to clean up the whole world, begin with your own doorstep. Another dangerous form of shadow denial is those who don't take the time to learn about current events to avoid negativity, in quotes, and therefore abdicate their duty as citizens, allowing dangerous forces to gain power while they fail to pay attention. As Jefferson said, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Those who can't bear to hear opposing points of view and want to censor, cancel, or repress what's outside their ideological bubble are shadow superspreaders. Those committed to a rigorous, ongoing process of reclaiming their shadow become valuable spiritual allies for those close to them and the whole world. The dark is indeed fascinating and informative. This is a quote from Whitley Strieber, but it is indeed also dangerous. It is on journeys into it, though, that we find ourselves. Every initiate comes to the same shocking place, for all the paths of the underworld to which we are traveling lead to it. There is a mirror there, old and full of shadows, and it is in the hints it returns of our faces, our dark, dark faces, that we find ourselves. Integrate your shadow before you do battle with shadows you see in the outer world.